Okay, we're on TV right now. Please make sure about the sound. As soon as it worked yesterday, I wanted to make sure I didn't mess something up. So, we have a new song today. This is the Boga Arctic song I was mentioned yesterday. Bogart, okay? Okay. So this is a song about Krishna's breakfast, actually. Could be his lunch, but Krishna didn't usually sit down and eat his lunch because he always forgot to come back from the field with the cows in the middle of the day. He's having too much fun, so he would have somebody bring his lunch to him. So this is actually describing his breakfast. Okay. Bhaja Bhakata Vatsala Shri Guru Hari Shri Guru Hari Sohi Gosha Bihari Nanda Yashoda Mata Chita Hari Bela Olo Damodara Aisa Ekano Boga Mandiri Boshi Koraha Bojana Nandirani Deshi Vaisi Giri Varadari Baladeva Saha Saka Vaise Sari Sari Shukta Shakari Baji Shukta Shakari Baji Nalita Kushmanda Dali Dana Juga Tumbi Hari Mocha Kanda Mukta Bora Masa Bora Rotika Kritana Shashkuli Pishtaka Kir Puli Payasana Karpura Amrita Kili Ramakira Sar Amrita Rasala Amla Dwada Shaprakar Ruchi Chini Sarpuri Ladu Rasabali Bhojana Korena Krishna Hoye Kutuhali Radhikara Paka Ana Vilina Vyajana Harama Anande Krishna Korena Bhojana Chale Bali Ladu Kai Shri Madhu Mangal Bhagala Bhajaya Ara Viya Hari Bolo Okay. Radhikari Kane Hari Nayanera Kone Tripta Hoye Kai Krishna Yashoda Bhavane Bhojanante piye Krishna subhasita bari. Save mukha prakaloi hoye sari sari. Hasta mukha prakaliya jata sakka gane. Anande Vishwama Kore Bhala Deva Sanne. Jambula Rasala Ana Tambula Masala. Tahake Krishna Chandra Suke Nidra Gela. Vishalaka Siki Pucha Chamara Dulaya. Apurva Shayaya Krishna Suke Nidra Jaya. Yashomati Agyapeye Nanishta Anito. Shri Krishna Prasada Radha Bunje Hoye Prito. Lalitari Sakti Gana Avishesha Paya. Mane Mane Sukhe Radha Krishna Guna Gaya. Hari Lila Ekmatra Jahara Pramoda. Bhoga Arati Gai Thakur Bhakti Vinoda. Now the translation. It's not just names of the preparations, but we'll see. Just worship Sri Gaurahari, who is always affectionate towards his devotees. He is the same supreme Godhead, Krishna, who sported in the cowherd pastures of Vraja and stole the hearts of Nanda and Yashoda. Mother Yashoda calls to Krishna, "My dear Damodar, it is very late. Please come right now and sit in the dining hall." Oh, well, here it actually is his lunch. But usually he was out in the field. "And take your lunch." His breakfast was like this too. On the direction of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna, the holder of Govardhan Hill, sits down, and then all the cowherd boys, along with Krishna's elder brother, Shri Baladev, sit down in rows and take their lunch. They are then served a feast of shukta and various kinds of green leafy vegetables. Shukta like spinach. Then nice fried things and a salad made of green leaves of the jute plant. They are also served pumpkin, baskets of fruit, small square cakes made of lentils, and cooked down milk. Then thick yogurt, squash cooked in milk, and vegetable preparations made from the flower of the banana tree. Then they receive fried squares of mung dal patties and urd dal patties, chapatis, and rice with ghee. Next, sweets made with milk, sugar, and sesame. Rice flour cakes, thick cooked down milk, cakes floating in milk, and sweet rice. There is also a sweet that tastes just like nectar due to being mixed with camphor. There are bananas and cheese, which is nectarian and delicious. They are all served. They are all served 12 kinds, in addition to everything else. They're all served 12 kinds of sour preparations made with tamarinds, limes, lemons, oranges, and pomegranates. There are puris made with white flour and sugar. It means sprinkled sugar on the top. Puris filled with cream, ladus, and dahi patties boiled in sugared rice. Krishna eagerly eats all the food. In great ecstasy and joy, Krishna eats the rice, curried vegetables, sweets, and pastries cooked by Srimati Radharani. Krishna's funny Brahmana friend, Madhu Mangal, who is very fond of ladus, gets them by hook or by crook. Eating the ladus, he shouts, "Haribo, Haribo," and makes a funny sound by slapping his sides under his armpits with his hands. After lunch, Krishna drinks rose-scented water. Then all the boys standing in lines wash their mouths. After all the cowherd boys wash their hands and mouths, in great bliss, they take rest with Lord Balaram. They take a nap after lunch. The two cowherd boys, Jambula and Rasala, then bring Krishna pan, made with betel nuts, fancy spices, and katachu. After eating that pan, Sri Krishna Chandra then happily goes to sleep. When Krishna happily takes his rest on an excellent bedstead, his servant Vishalaksha cools him with a fan of peacock feathers. At Mother Yashoda's request, the Gopi Dhanishta brings the remnants of food left on Krishna's plate to Srimati Radharani, who eats them with great delight. Lalita Devi and the other gopis then receive the remnants, and within their hearts they sing the glories of Radharani and Krishna with great joy. Thakur Bhaktivinoda, whose one and only joy is the pastimes of Lord Hari, sings this Bhoga Arati song. So that's Krishna's lunch. But he also has a very big breakfast. And he also eats a lot at night. Yashoda gives a lot to eat at night before he goes to sleep. Of course, if we eat a lot at night before we go to sleep, we will miss Mongol Arati the next day. But Krishna eats, because Mother Yashoda gives him a lot to eat, so he won't have to have reason to go wandering off and going to the other houses of the other gopis looking for something to eat. No excuses. So she makes sure to feed him very nicely at night. Our evening offering, which is only a little dried fruit and milk and like that right now, but it used to be an offering almost the size of our Raj Bhoga offering. Anyway, it gives an idea of some of the things. We have cookbooks, we have recipe books that describe all of these different preparations. The Mother Yamuna's cookbook is, everything's described there is in that book. So, going on, today's Sri Caitanya-caritamrita. We started the purport of text chapter 1, verse 91. But we didn't finish it. So I'll read the verse again, which is actually the first or second verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam being quoted here. And then we'll see if we can get through the purport. If not, then we'll continue from there next time. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam Tejam vastavam atra vasta shivadam tapatrayon moganam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kingva Para Ishvara Sajjo Hrijavarujate Kritibi Shushushivishtat Kshanat. The great scripture, the second verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, describes the glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The first one was establishing the position of Krishna, Dharma Projita Kaitavotra. I mean, that's another verse. First one is the first is a different one. That establishes the position of Krishna, and now we're establishing the position of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is just beginning. The great scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam, compiled by Mahamuni Vyasadeva from 4 original Vedic verses, describes the most elevated and kind-hearted devotees and completely rejects the cheating ways of materially motivated religiosity. It propounds the highest principle of eternal religion, which can factually mitigate the threefold miseries of a living being and award the highest benediction of full prosperity and knowledge. Those willing to hear the message of this scripture in a submissive attitude of service can at once capture the Supreme Lord in their hearts. Therefore, there is no need for any scripture other than the Srimad Bhagavatam. Purport. This verse appears in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 1st chapter, verse 2. The words Mahamuni Krite indicate that Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva, who is sometimes known as Narayan Mahamuni because he is an incarnation of Narayan. Vyasadeva, therefore, is not an ordinary man, but is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He compiled the beautiful Bhagavatam to narrate some of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees. In Srimad Bhagavatam, a distinction between real religion and pretentious religion has been clearly made. According to the original and genuine commentation of Vedanta Sutra, there are numerous pretentious faiths that pass as religion but neglect the real essence of religion. The real religion of the living being is his natural inborn quality, whereas pretentious religion is a form of nescience that artificially covers a living entity's pure consciousness under certain unfavorable conditions. Real religion lies dormant when the artificial religion dominates the mental plane. A living being can awaken his dormant religion by hearing with a pure heart. I'll explain a little bit as we go on because it's kind of elevated. So what is the difference between real religion and pretentious religion? These scholars here. Real religion. So real religion. The word dharma, or one of the meanings of the word dharma, is that quality that cannot be separated from the living being. It cannot be separated, and that quality some of the qualities because we're spirit soul. So what is that what are those qualities? We are eternal, so that cannot be separated. We are eternally eternal. We're eternally full of knowledge, eternally full in bliss, and and our tendency is to serve, because we're like little sparks in a fire. Fire, you burn a fire, and the little sparks go flying out sometimes. So we're like those little sparks compared to the big fire, which is Krishna. Um, so we are. Um, we are eternally serving. So the dharma of the living entity is that quality which is always there in the living entity, and that is the tendency to serve, the tendency to offer service. And every living being, and actually every living being, not just human beings, every living being is in one way or another, directly or indirectly, serving. We can't avoid it. If we say, "Oh, I'm not going to serve anyone. Everyone should be serving me." Well, it just doesn't work that way. Because even if you're in a big position, become the king of the land, and you're in the highest position in that place, you say, "Everyone's going to serve me. I'm not going to serve them." But what happens if you're saying you're the king or you're the president? Well, everyone's looking up to you to solve their problems. You got obligations. So you got to serve. You got to act according to your position. And so if you're, and of course on a lower level, if you got a job, you obviously got to serve your boss, right? But the boss has to do something for the employees too, because if the boss is just exploiting, just taking and no consideration of the feelings and the position or anything of that of his employees, he won't be there very long, or they won't be there very long. It won't work because our nature, you have to serve. We can't get away without serving. So that's the nature of the living being. So our service, the perfection of our service, is serving the supreme devotional service, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we're talking about pretentious religion, because the Vedas are huge. I mean, we have a couple of little books. Now look at our little books, Srimad Bhagavatam, they're big. But compared to the size of the whole Vedas, what we have is like this, little tiny bit. Because most of the Vedas are for the people who are interested in the pretentious religions, like demigod worship. It's religious. It's there in the Vedas. It's not sinful, but it's a cheating religion, because in the name of being a religious person, a person puts so much energy into worshiping demigods or doing certain kinds of material things to get some kind of material result, but that's not really the point of religion. Real religion means you're engaging in the devotional service to the Lord. That's actual real religion. Real religion elevates us to the platform of pure devotional service. Pretentious religion means we're following the religious principles, that we're following the Vedas, some material part of the Vedas, because that's what most people are interested in, is the material things in the Vedas. We're following that, and we are being, and we'll get our our elevation to the heavenly planets, or we'll get some kind of material benefit, but that's not really the point of religion. Real religion means you give up all that. So pure devotional service we're talking about this yesterday. Pure devotional service, what are the three things? for the 3 points of the pure devotional service? Okay, so much enthusiastic response here. Pure devotional service means you're engaged in devotional service that Krishna wants you to do, Shravanam, Kirtan, Vishnu, Smaranam, like that. Things he wants you to do is pleasing to him, and then there's 2 things you avoid in general. You do that pure devotional service, and you don't do other things like worshiping the demigods and doing other things to try to improve your material situation in the future lifetimes. You don't do that, and you don't do anything that has to do with trying to work towards like merging in the Brahma Jyoti, which for some that's the highest perfection of life, but that's not pure devotional service. So pure devotional service means Anyavilasitaśunyam jnana karmaja labhitam. It means you engage in Krishna service, and you reject things that, like demigod worship and so on, to get elevation in material life, and you reject the impersonal idea, which would ultimately lead, if you're perfected, to merging in the Brahma Jyoti. You don't want those. Your service is not mixed with those things. We don't say that I'll serve Krishna today. Okay, Monday I'll serve Krishna. Tuesday I'll serve Lord Shiva. Wednesday I'll serve Krishna. Thursday I'll serve Lord Indra, and like that. But no, pure devotional service means no demigod worship, no performing austerities to get materially elevated. That's good. Jai Shri Gauranitai, Shri Radha Vrija Vihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, Lord Shingade, Prahlad Maharaj Ki. So we'll go on, maybe we'll touch on what I just mentioned here. The path of fruitive work, karma kanda, even when decorated by religious ceremonies, is meant to elevate one's material condition. That is a cheating process, because it can never enable one to gain relief from material existence and achieve the highest goal. So that's just what it said. A living being perpetually struggles hard to rid himself of the pangs of material existence, but the path of fruitive work leads him to either temporary happiness or temporary distress in material existence. By pious work, one is placed in a position where he can temporarily feel material happiness, whereas vicious activities lead him to a distressful position of material want and scarcity. However, even if one is put into the most perfect situation of material happiness, he cannot in that way become free from the pangs of birth, death, old age, and disease. A materially happy person is therefore in need of the eternal relief that mundane religiosity, in terms of fruitive work, can never award. So you go to heavenly planets because of your pretentious religious activities. Yeah, you can go there and you can enjoy, relatively speaking, you can enjoy a lot for a period of time, but you'll still be attached to have material attachments. You'll still have so many material things, and eventually you got to fall down from that position anyway, because you don't live forever like that, and you still have to be born. If you go to heavenly planets, you're still born. You still have to die, and maybe the disease and old age are less noticeable, but that'll be there also. So the religious, in the name of religion, if one does what he has to do to go to the heavenly planets, it's cheating, because the real goal of life is not to go to the heavenly planets, to go up and go down and go up and go down. The real goal of life is to go back home, back to Godhead. No more birth, death, disease, or old age. So that's what Srimad Bhagavatam teaches. That's the whole point of the Srimad Bhagavatam, to bring us to the point of that pure devotional service. The paths of culture of knowledge, jnana marg, and of mystic powers, yoga marg, are equally hazardous, for one does not know where one will go by following these uncertain methods. An empiric philosopher in search of spiritual knowledge may endeavor most laboriously for many, many births in mental speculation, many births. But unless and until he reaches the stage of the pure quality of goodness, in other words, until he transcends the plane of material speculation, it is not possible for him to know that everything emanates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. His attachment to the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord makes him unfit to rise to the transcendental stage of Vasudeva understanding, and therefore, because of his unclean state of mind, he glides down again into the material existence, even after having ascended to the highest stages of liberation. This fall down takes place due to his want of a locus standi in the service of the Supreme Lord. It's probably Latin, I don't know what it means. Locus standi. As far as the mystic powers of the yogis are concerned, they are all also material entanglements on the path of spiritual realization. One German scholar who became a devotee of Godhead in India said that material science had already made laudable progress in duplicating the mystic powers of the yogis. He therefore came to India not to learn the methods of the yogis' mystic powers, but to learn the path of transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord, as mentioned in the great scripture Srimad Bhagavatam. Mystic powers can make a yogi materially powerful and thus give temporary relief from the miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease, as other material sciences can also do. But such mystic powers can never be a permanent source of relief from the miseries. Therefore, according to the Bhagavad school, the path of religiosity is also a method of cheating its followers. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly defined that the most elevated and powerful mystic yogi is one who can constantly think of the Supreme Lord within his heart and engage in the loving service of the Lord. Can you give the nectar devotion? The mystic powers are mentioned. Nectar of devotion. Yes. So in the first chapter of Nectar of Devotion, there are 6 characteristics of pure devotional service, and one of them, let's see here. Let me read the first 6 characteristics, and then I'll say something more about one of them. Pure devotional service brings immediate relief from all kinds of material distress. 2, pure devotional service is the beginning of all auspiciousness. 3. Pure devotional service automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. 4. Pure devotional service is rarely achieved. 5. Those in pure devotional service deride even the conception of liberation. And 6. Pure devotional service is the only means to attract Krishna. Krishna is all attractive, but pure devotional service attracts even him. This means that pure devotional service is even transcendentally stronger than Krishna himself, because it is Krishna's internal potency. Okay, Srila Prabhupada describes in here, this is under the heading of happiness in Krishna consciousness. And then we're reading in the Caitanya-caritamrita about how nothing, no material thing will give us the real happiness, which is really satisfying. So here about mystic power, mystic perfections, which are mentioned here and are described here. The mystic perfections achieved by actually successful yogis are 8 in number. Anima siddhi refers to the power by which one can become so small that he can enter into a stone. Modern scientific improvements also enable us to enter into stone because they provide for excavating in so many subways, penetrating the hills, etc. So anima siddhi, the mystic perfection of trying to enter into stone, has already been achieved by material science. Similarly, all the yoga siddhis or perfections are material arts. They're not spiritual, they're material. For example, in one yoga siddhi, there is the development of the power to become so light that one can float in the air or on water. That is also being performed by modern scientists. They're flying in the air, they're floating on the surface of the water, boats, and they are traveling under the water. After comparing all these mystic yoga siddhis to materialistic perfections, we find that materialistic scientists strive for the same perfections. There's another mystic power called Ladima. Of course, in the categories of mystic perfection, there are certain processes that material scientists have not yet been able to develop. For instance, a mystic yogi can enter into the sun planet simply by using the rays of the sunshine. This perfection is called Laghima. Similarly, a yogi can touch the moon with his finger. Though the modern astronomers go to the moon with the help of spaceships, so-called, they undergo many difficulties, whereas a person with mystic perfection can extend his hand and touch the moon with his finger. This siddhi is called prapti, or acquisition. This prapti siddhi not only can the perfect mystic yogi touch the moon planet, but he can extend his hand anywhere and take whatever he likes. He may be sitting thousands of miles away from a certain place, and if he likes, he can take a fruit from a garden there. This is prapti siddhi. Here's a mango from India right now, like that. You have that power. The modern scientists have manufactured nuclear weapons with which they can destroy an insignificant part of this planet, but by the yoga siddhi known as Ishita, one can create create or destroy an entire planet simply at will. Another perfection is called vasita, and by this perfection one can bring anyone under his control. These are material mystic powers. Anyway, I don't want to go too much in this here, but it's under the section of happiness and Krishna consciousness in the first chapter. So, but the point is about the mystic powers. You can waste your time doing, trying to reach perfections in mystic powers if you're interested in those things, or going to the heavenly planets, or doing so many things. But it's a waste of time. Better that we spend our time engaged in the Lord's pure devotional service. There's a story about a person, I guess in India. The person became very infatuated with the idea of being able to do that mystic perfection of being able to walk on water, to show everyone how he can walk on water. Okay, and he went away, studied under some yogi, practiced for many years, and he finally got it. He actually came back and was able to walk on water. He made himself very light and go do like that. So then he came back. He got this idea when he was a young child. So he ran off, and when he was old, he came back, had his perfection, and he showed people how he could walk on water. Oh, great! But somebody else who knew him when he went off to get this perfection, he said, "You've wasted so much time. You wasted your whole lifetime. You wasted the last, 80 years of your life learning how to walk on water. All you for 10 cents, you could have taken a boat across the river. But so these things can be distractions. So we should not be distracted looking for any of these material perfections, which we probably couldn't achieve anyway, because they take something we probably don't have now. That you don't waste our time engaged in those kind of things. But whatever we do in life, make the most important part of our life to engage in pure devotional service. That's what we should be striving for. It's 8:30 already. Any questions?
Yes. So the description of devotion service, you mentioned it is transcendentally higher than
Krishna. Transcendentally. Because by pleasing, if you engage in pure devotional service, perfect devotional service means devotional service with perfect devotion, you purchase Krishna. He'll do anything for you. He'll become so pleased because of your pure devotion that anything you want, he'll give you. Of course, you're not going to want anything that's not for Krishna's pleasure. But sometimes a devotee may come to that level, and they may think, "Wow, I'd really like to give this person that's a real benefit, help them to become a devotee of Krishna." Anyway, if you desire and you're on that level, Krishna will just give it. Just like we hear about Narada Muni. You all know about Narada Muni, right? Traveling. So Narada Muni, he goes everywhere, and he's a pure devotee of Krishna, and he's very much empowered, and he can do anything. If he wants to give blessings, mercy to somebody, help them become a devotee of Krishna, he can do it. He's empowered in that way because Krishna gives him that ability because of his pure devotion. And there's a lot of instances, but we can't really go into all of them right now, but we mention it once in a while. So yes, if you want to purchase Krishna, then you become a pure devotee of Krishna, and then he'll be very happy with you. And he'll give you anything you want, including himself. You'll give yourself to him. giving himself to you. Okay? Well, let me just be sure there's anyone with any comments here. No. So it ends here for today. Tomorrow we will be back on Srimad Bhagavatam.